All right, everybody, it's our Klaus here, and long time no see. It's been a little while since I've had a chance to do a video, and so it's really nice to have that opportunity to present this information to you today. And so what I want to do is discuss something that has been just more and more intriguing to me as time has gone on, and that is the International Space Station. And so I want to talk about its what I feel to be very blatant and brilliant encoding with occult connections. We're going to talk about everything going to Hinduism, as well as how it's all connected to CERN, the entertainment industry, media, all that good stuff. So really, let's just get right into it, right? So the ISS, the 911, if we reduce those letters, and I'll come back to that later, it's just floating above us at all times. Something, right, that is endorsed by NASA, huge piece of all of that. And do remember they do have a history dealing with nuclear weapons, huge component with them, and Jet Propulsion Laboratory. And that was central to the Pez Theory videos I did. And we'll talk about NASA and more in just a moment here. But so again, thinking about this big 9/11 floating around in the sky, and you look at this image here, and it's just right, real nicely done up. Big point of controversy is these images looking photoshopped, and the more you look at images like this, the human mind, right, just has that natural tendency to start seeing things and saying, oh, that shouldn't be there, that shouldn't be there. But that's not the purpose of this video. I don't want to get into that discussion, but I do want to note the stark difference between an image like this and the ones that come through when we're looking right from these alleged live feeds from the ISS. And so this is right, one of many on YouTube where it's just claiming to be a live feed from the International Space Station, and unfortunately it's really not, and it's really too bad because a lot of people in here, when it's not just being spammed or trolled, are just like, wow, this is so amazing, it's gorgeous, this and that, which, sure, it really is, and, kind of would be. But then you have this article from the BBC saying you are not watching a live feed from space. And so it just so happens to be just about the same screenshot there that I paused on. And so this video is actually from a few years ago. And so the article goes into it, talking about how it's right, all of this kind of chopped together footage of this expedition that had been done earlier. And I'm going to come back to these comments later because this one from AJ Villanova is just very, very telling to me in a lot of ways and revealing. So in the fact that, right, it's included on a BBC article. But so before we get into that, take a look here. This is the actual live feed said to be coming off of the International Space Station. And so it's, really nothing to write home about. It's not, at all what we see from an image like this. And again, I'm sure there's all sorts of explanations for the cameras, to this, to that, but this thing did cost $150 billion, half of which was paid for by U.S. taxpayers. So for $150 billion, I want something that is definitively going to tell me what the shape of the Earth is, since that seems to be an issue now, and we have this thing, we spend all this money, it's just floating around, it's kind of taking these, B-side images of whatever here. But so in any case, thinking about this, this $150 billion for the ISS, you just drop that zero. The 15th tarot card is the devil card. That concept of that just illusory control of negative energy is going to come up a lot today. So I just want to point that out and just write the actual building and funding of this potential kind of doomsday sort of device looming above us at all times. And so in any case, let's think about the ISS and its connection to NASA. If we take NASA and invert it, we get the Hindu name ASAN. And so ASAN is a very interesting name for NASA to have once inverted there, because we have that meaning things such as heavenly messenger, messenger from God, a reference to the lotus flower. And so for those of you not familiar with the Right, again, tremendous importance of this flower. You can see here, I have a number of things highlighted. I'll leave you all these links. But you see virtually every god and goddess of Hinduism, including Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, and so forth, are shown holding the lotus flower. And it is said to be, right, this just representation of eternity, divinity, all of these things, right? And so the fact that that name lotus comes up in the meaning of ASAN is a big deal because, again, it is often associated with the origin story in Hindu text here. You can see how Brahma created the world using the petals of the lotus flower in this very beautifully written text. And so, again, all of this very important because, of course, here you can see the lotus pose, which is, again, a very huge piece to all of this. But what I want you to see is that, right, because, of course, Crowley is huge into yoga, a lot of writing on it. But in any case, when we get back to this name Asan here, so you can see these meanings, you also have snake and Lord Shiva and Lord Vishnu. So that's very interesting because that is the destroyer or the transformer and the preserver or the protector, respectively, there. And what's even more interesting is that there is a representation of those two gods fused as one. And so they're said to be one and the same with one another, just the opposite representations. And when they are fused together, they are referred to as Harihara or the Shankranarayana. And so this to me is very fascinating, right? And so take a look back here. So we can show you some of this coding here for Harihara is the same as Thelema, as well as Yahweh and Klaus, these huge pieces here. And if we break down the name Harihara for the both of the gods respectively, H and H, we have that double 8, and the name itself is 8 letters, so we have a triple 8. Now look at this down here. When we look at the values for Shankranarayana, it is an English value of 888, which shares coding with Donald J. Trump, David Blaine White, right? The comet Elenin, this whole idea of death from above I'm kind of explaining, because remember, El is short for extinction level event, and Nin is the Sumerian goddess, right? And so again, of destruction. And so, that kind of, again, death from above sort of idea there, and just connecting in with these pieces. You see as well destruction, the path of none, that of course is the path of death, and these references to nuclear weapon, of course, right? NASA's history with all of that. So where I really want to kind of go with this for now, though, is thinking about this, right? From NASA, we get Asan, which can refer us to Shiva, right? Because that's one of the meanings of the name. And so that makes me think about this statue outside of CERN, right? And so if we take a look at this article, this is actually from earlier this year. And you'll see that the statue was originally unveiled on June 18th, 2004. Now, a plaque next to the statue is accompanied by a quote by Fritjof Capra. So it explains its significance as, hundreds of years ago, Indian artists created visual images of dancing Shivas in a beautiful series of bronzes. In our time, physicists have used the most advanced technology to portray the patterns of the cosmic dance. The metaphor of the cosmic dance thus unifies ancient mythology, religious art, and modern physics. The dance of Shiva symbolizes the basis of all existence. At the same time, Shiva reminds us that the manifold forms in the world are not fundamental, but illusory and ever-changing. Modern physics has shown that the rhythm of creation and destruction is not only manifest in the turn of the seasons and in the birth and death of all living creatures, but is also the very essence of inorganic matter. And so, conceptually, there, he's just talking about some very wonderful and deep pieces there. That second bit, not a part of the original quote, which accompanies it there. So the part that does accompany it, again, references the metaphor of the cosmic dance. And so I really wanted to take a look at, right, these pieces here, because, right, why does Fritjof get to, right, have this quote next to CERN's Shiva statue? So his coding comes up real nice. Conspiracy, this grand architect, so mote it be. It's a huge Thelemic phrase. And do take note here, the number 83. This is going to come up later, and this plays role next to that 109 that we saw earlier. But so again, look at all these pieces here. Mount Etna, beginning and end, huge pieces, conceptually all right in the same bit here. So the cosmic dance, though, right, what he's referencing there is 13 letters, and that is death or the transformation tarot card. So very interesting that, right, Shiva is the destroyer, the transformer, and the cosmic dance that she's cited to be doing, and the quote accompanying her by this man Fritjof Capra is 13 letters, so on, right? So if we break this down further, TCD reduces as 234, which you can invert and add and get that nice 666 for you there. So really brilliant stuff. Keep going here, though. The cosmic dance simple value is 122, and so again, 1 times 22, we could have a nice master builder. But do notice it is the same as sanitation. Now keep that in mind with that 109 and all these other pieces, because we're drawing closer to it. Now you notice here as well, great deceiver, the end is near, alien arrival. Of course, you can do cosmic dance on its own, and you have this coding here. But what I do want to show you, let's go back to this article because it is a really interesting one. We have, it says, the statue captures Shiva performing the Tandava, a dance believed to be the source of the cycle of creation, preservation, and destruction. The dance exists in 5 forms, which shows the cosmic cycle from creation to destruction. And so you can see those also highlighted for you down below here. And so if you take a look, you can see here the coding for Tandava, and this is the 4th phase right here, the Tarubhava, which is illusion. So it's just very interesting because you have references to MK Ultra. Both of these concepts have these ideas of 11 built into them. Again, the master magic number in many ways. And so take a look down below here. One other thing I want you to just kind of tune into, thinking about these gods, and they're just concepts here. In Hindu cosmology, the universe exists for a single day called the Brahmakalpa. This day is equivalent to 4 billion Earth years, at the end of which the whole universe gets dissolved. This process is called pralaya. And so again, you can see here, pralaya, its translations, its destructions. You can see during each pralaya, the lower 10 realms are destroyed, right? So this is in perfect sync with something like the tarot deck, right? And the Sephiroth, the Tree of Life, the 10 Commandments, the Bill of Rights, right? All of these 10s that order everything on the lower realms, right? And all of that to be restructured at the end of each aeon. And so again, that's very important that those be discussed in this pralaya, this destroying of all things. And you can see even the higher realms are destroyed alongside them. So conceptually, just all these massive pieces I want to share with you. And so again, so you just understand more when you see all of these coding pieces coming up in this, right? So in any case, one last bit here on the NASA ISS bit. The Jewish value is the same as flat Earth, so I just do think that's really interesting. One of the things I would be interested to hear from one of them, since I'm mentioning it quickly, is how they would approach somebody like Dutch Sense, who I think does a really just fascinating work in channel, but he clearly uses a globe model when he's predicting very accurately the earthquakes. So I want to know how that would be explained with the flat earth model, and how he would still be able to be so accurate using a globe one. I think that'd be really interesting to hear. But so in any case, what I do want to note here is that NASA ISS is actually an anagram for is an ass. So now a lot of ways that you can take this, but the most important and intriguing one, I think, comes from chapter 33 in the Book of Lies, right, entitled Baphomet. And so here you have at the bottom of that chapter, and it says, right, speaking from the Grand Master of the temple and of the god that is ass-headed, did he dare not speak? And so it's very important that we have that mentioned in here because, again, there's been a lot that I've been trying to talk about and figure out with this, but if you take ass, ASS, those letters all reduce down to 1, so you have that triple 1, so the English value of that is the 666, right? And so all of that always coming right back. And so, to me, it's just something to really, just kind of really think about. Again, I think conceptually, there's just a huge piece of deception going on with that. You can see here, it's talking about in the notes of this, the secrets of that Grand Master's order were not lost and are still being communicated to the worthy by his successors, as is intimated by the last paragraph, which implies knowledge of a secret worship of which the Grand Master did not speak, right? And as I just showed you, he was not daring to talk about the ass-headed god. And so to see, that come across is an ass, and it's interesting in that, right? Okay. So now keep going here, because there's another way that we can read that anagram. Right, even it's just inverted of is-an, it becomes Nasai. So in modern Hebrew, Nasai means president. So Nasai ass, another anagram for NASA ISS, means president ass. So that's really interesting to me. We've definitely got that right now. And look at that, you've got skull and bones, God of all things, end of the world, the path of Resh. Remember, that is the sun. And you can even see back here in the notes from chapter 33 of Book of Lives. This is Crowley's commentary and all of these. He's talking about it as perhaps the sun, the exoteric object of worship of all sensible cults, right? Not to be confused with other bits. I do think it's interesting that the guy that he's mentioning from here, who's regarding the secret of the ass head, initials are IBM, right? Obviously, interesting for the computer company. Of course, happens to be the one with the hugely controversial involvement with the Nazis. Whatever, right? We always just turn our cheek to that sort of stuff. So in any case, keep going here. I want you to see as well, though, President Ass, all these connections. It's also the same as 47. Now, this is a huge number that I talked about in my Mack truck conspiracy video. So let's get into the second half of this here. So you can see now, getting into the space station stuff, here's the 9/11 spelled out. But if we add this, right, because S is the 19th letter twice over, plus 9 gives us 47, right? So very, very compelling that comes up. But you also have beast, bull, time, Babylon, as in Our Lady, right? Because we have that nice A, just like on the seal. And again, all those points with 7, but notice here as well, Pez and Doom, right? All these things. And so I'm going to come back to all of that. But so now the English value for 47 is 282, because 47 times 6 gives us that number. So the 282nd day of this year is going to give us 83 remaining, obviously, but it will be the 9th of October. So do remember earlier here, though, I do want to point this out, from Friedhof Capra, his 83 that was coded. This is the guy whose quote accompanies Shiva by that statue in front of CERN, okay? And it has that 83 coded in, and that 109, right? Do you remember, let's get back to this BBC article that's coming up in this quote here from A.J. Villanova, talking, right, about this fake, or his big revelation is coming, everything's fake. But so do notice that AJ's coding, I have it over here for you, happens, right, be really big deal coding. Stuff such as Rosicrucian, it's a huge order, as well as non-serviums, I will not serve. You also have 9/11 FEMA, as well as the Path of Mem, that is sacrifice. You see black skeleton, moon and sun, right, and all those connections I was talking about up here with, all the bits we can get out of mooning and worshipping of the ass. Again, just a huge concept in America, looking at music videos and culture. But again, references to the serpent, right? Just like ASAN, when we look at, right, the meaning of that name. So it's just a really huge piece, and especially to see that. And again, thinking about, you see Pennywise comes up here. And isn't this so interesting that the two biggest things this year in a lot of ways, right, the Trump presidency, obviously, and then the movie It just came out and just destroyed everything. And of course, Pennywise, the name of the damn clown. But look, Trump, It, right, has these coatings here. And again, these are huge ideas. Lady Gaga, Joanne coming up, and she's going to be this really huge piece with the 109 that I'm about to seal in for you. But notice as well here these references to satanic offer, torture, flesh and blood, right, David's star, that nice 6-pointed star, the hexagram. But so let's really delve in over here, right? So jump back over to the left side of your screen, and you do see, so right, 10/9, October 9th, the number 109. Drop that 0, it's 19. The 19th card is the Sun card, the Path of Resh card, right? Just like up here with the Skull and Bones and President Ass and 47 coding, right? All of that just right on top of itself. But notice as well here, this 109, Edward Hawes III, that is the founder of the Pez Company, right? The Pez Company that originally had 44 bricks, right? Architect. In its logo. And so again, huge things, keep going. I've gone over that in the past so many times. So I want you to see down below here, because this is crucial. The last big day that I had marked was September 7th. And so again, big day, day that, right, is announced that we've got over 100,000 that were evacuating for Hurricane Irma. And so again, Hurricane Irma, that is the same coding as Pez theory. I'll show you that later in another huge piece that's going to tie that in with everything. But what I really want to show you is the amount of time from September 7th to October 9th. And so it happens to be 33 days, right? Or 1 month and 13 days. And so that, of course, the death card, 33, the Baphomet chapter in Book of Lies, like this, 4 weeks, 5 days. Trump's our 45th president. Right, could go on and on. It's very interesting. There's another date in here. I just want to throw it out. And so you can see here June 18th, 2004. Remember, that was when this statue of Shiva was unveiled. And so I have the difference between that and October 9th of this year. So when you do that, it's 13 years. You get that again, and there's your 322, right? Your Skull and Bones number everybody loves to see. So very interesting. If you add 48 and 62 together, it is 110. I think symbol of 110 is like New Aeon, all of those sorts of pieces there. Yep, there you have it. New Aeon, martial law, 911, right? International Space Station, like I keep saying, accidental death. All these huge pieces, connection to Paris, France, Grim Reaper, Rockefeller. Big number. All right. So in any case, I'll just try to leave it on an interesting one here so you can have that to look through. Wow, it's the same as I'm a unitard. So let's keep going here, though. Let me get back. So interesting amount of time in between those, right? And obviously this 109 is a big deal. I'm harping on it. I'm going to keep showing you some more here in a bit. So again, if we look at it a different way, right, up top here, this 109 was just simply looking at it as, right, the 109th day, looking at that number. So October 9th, another way we could look at this, gives us all this variation here. Again, Sears Tower, Our Lady Babylon, Ground Zero, Judgment Days, 93, again, master thelemic number. So another way to look at this, October 9, this is the one I really want to hone in on for you here. because this gives us our references to the Pilgrim Society through Hic et Ubique, right, which translates to here and everywhere. And that's just like the Mack trucks, right? They're here and everywhere. I did that huge video on it for you. It's tremendously fascinating. But look at this other coding for October 9, Illuminati, Mac Bulldogs, the truth, right? Just like from AJ's tweet that he kept talking about, you see 4-4, right? And remember, AJ's tweet was posted at that 1:09 time. And all of these things I was showing you with his just very interesting coding and the way it happens to pop up down here, right? So again, just continue looking through that. And again, all of these connections here, hidden masters, so on and so forth. And so since this is an actual thing here, let me find it for you. I think it's this one. Yep. So here's Lady Gaga riding her Mack truck. And this is a 109 up here. And most of the images that you look at for this front part of the truck is cut off. And I think a huge part of it is absolutely for this 109 for somebody like me who's sitting here and sees this. And so again, this sanitation truck, we've looked into all of this in the past, but I want to highlight that for now. So that's in the front of your mind. And again, because just very recently here, as you can see, volume 109 of V magazine has Lady Gaga on it, and so there it is with that 109, that 10-9 again. And so they're just kind of flashing it in our faces everywhere, and especially when you see how this coding all lines up. And so do remember, it's worth reiterating, that the V sign or the peace sign, even when you do that with your fingers, and again, keeping in line with Gaga here, this is on election night when she's all just really Nazi'd out at Hillary's bit there, and again flashing this V for everybody, but this is paying homage to Typhon. Now this is not a Hindu deity, but said to be the most powerful throughout mythology, and again buried underneath Mount Etna, which came up earlier in the video today. But so again, think about these things conceptually with the V, right? It's 45 degrees. Trump is our 45th president. If we look at coding for Trump train, let's see if I can get it up for you here. I mean, goodness, it just comes up so much. All right, so there's it's the original one that I'm looking for there, but there it is. There's Trump train. And notice that it does have that V coding up here. Of course, Horatio Greeno is the man who did the enthroned Washington, all the stuff we've done on that. But again, here, V is the mark of the beast. See the masterpiece Ion, Queen of Pentacles, all this brilliant stuff that we have discussed for you in the past. But before I get too sidetracked with all that, just again, see how all that just fits in there. And let's go back here to this so I can show you, right, this Gaga Forever bit is posted on August 28th. And you can see, talking about this issue 109 on newsstands, August 31st. So now these are very interesting numbers. And I'm going to show you why they are such interesting numbers. And I think can do that. Of course, it's a little more difficult than that. All right, so there you go. For Pez theory, you can see 828 and 138, which are the inversions of when that is released, right? And again, you can see it shares coding with Donald Trump, Master Mason, behind the 11. All of these huge things, Hadron Collider, Hurricane Irma, right, just so happens to share coding with those. Now, I have this right here for you if you want to take the Pez theory stuff one step farther. You can add 828 and 138. You get 966, which is the same as planet Saturn. Again, what is said to be the root of all of this in many ways. You also get terrorists, Satan's project, and the number 864. Now, that is the same as, right, all these huge things, Dante's Inferno, Steve Jackson. It's the whole Illuminati card game, the Scarlet Woman, phrase "I want you gaga," and even just looking back from the Trump train, one of the things that it told us was to see the masterpiece ion. And so if I can pull that back up for you here, right? So it's saying here, see the masterpiece ion. And so that's something that we've looked at quite a bit. And of course, remember Judgment the Star. These are the two cards that are tilted on the Economist cover, share coding with the masterpiece ion, as well as Donald John Trump. A Perfect Illusion, Mistaken for Love. Those are both quotes from Lady Gaga's song, right? Perfect Illusion. All these things, huge pieces, just consistently falling into place here. And again, if you want to take that one further from the Pez theory reductions, 9 times 66, you can see 594, Rapture, the event, 13, Most High, Physics, right? This whole centerpiece with CERN and Shiva, ASAN, on and on, right? So notice here as well, symbol value for Gaga Forever, right? It's on the cover here, Gaga Forever, right? You can see all that. It's 105, again, drop that 0, nice 15. Devil card, Dark Illusion references again. Notice we break down the two words though. Gaga is 4, Forever is 7. It's nice 47 once again, right? Tying us back to all of those pieces from, right? President Ass is an ass, all the NASA stuff. 4 and 7's 11, again, that chief magic number. But do notice here, 9/11, sudden death, the world, masonry, Cliffoth, right? Number of points on that is 11, because that is the tree of death, the inversion of the tree of life. Notice as well, vitriol, which means to go underground, as in going to the tree of death, visiting the Cliffoth. You also have the reference to brothers, of course, 6, all of its important things. That's the alternate name for the Lover's card in the tarot deck. A couple other things just on the way out here. I do want you to be aware of the dates of September 21st and 29th as well. I do feel those are going to be very interesting days on top of this October 9th that I'm putting forward to you. I just say that because I don't know when the next time I'll have a chance to do a video is. So that's what I have for you today. Fascinating video. Thank you so much to everybody for taking the time to watch. I did see that we actually just recently passed the 1,400 subscribers, so thank you so much to everybody for, again, just finding meaning in all of this. It's not how many are watching, it's who's watching. So thank you so much for finding me. And as always, please be well.